Hey guys, it's Jang from the friendly forums at ultimaterc.com, and I'm here to give you a director's commentary version of the Project Chimera-A Challenges Epic Music video mini-series. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play all 5 videos back to back, and at the same time I'm playing them for you, I'm going to be watching them in real time on a screen over here. And with picture-in-picture, I'm going to give you some feedback and just some commentary as I go along, talking about some of the things that were going on behind the scenes that you would not have seen, some of the things that went into getting some of the shots, and just some general casual feedback and commentary from the perspective of the guy who did the videos themselves, some stuff that you may not have thought of. But first of all, a little bit of background on just the theme itself, epic music. Of course, everybody knows that the king of the epic music or cinematic, fully scored, orchestral arrangement combined with RC driving video is none other than DJ Medic. I mean, his work, or his and his camera lady's work, are just absolutely quality stuff. They're very popular. Of course you've seen them. If you haven't, I don't know what YouTube rock you've been living under for the past year and a half. You should have seen them. But one thing you may not have known is that back in 2007, I actually did my own first try at an epic music RC video, and it was for Project Demon's Bane. And I have spent just way too much time, a ridiculous amount of time and effort editing together this footage that I took and doing a custom mix of a couple different versions of a very epic music track by Rob Dugan. Put it all together, so much heart and energy went into it, put it up on YouTube, folks started watching it, and then YouTube muted it. Because even though I had bought the track itself, the music track, for my own listening, it turns out, of course, I did not have the proper license to redistribute that music in a work of my own. So, lesson learned, but it was pretty devastating to me with all the time that I put into it. Fast forward to today, or the time when these videos were made, 2010, and I finally kind of caught up with a growing portion of the video producing community who knows about the dirty little secret of how to create legally cinematic background music tracks that are fully scored and fully synchronized to your video using simple software such as Sonic Smart Sound Sonic Fire Pro or Sony Cinescore. So now that the playing field is leveled a little bit and I can actually get back into the game, I figured it was a good time for me to go ahead and do a tribute to the best type of epic music video that there is in the RC world, the DJ Medic style. And I figured what better vehicle to use, literally and figuratively, than Chimera-A. Chimera-A is always going through and challenging different things, and so without further ado, Chimera-A challenges epic music. In a world of radio control, I promise I'm not going to talk like this through the whole thing, don't worry. One man ventures forth into the unknown, armed with 2 cameras, a bottle of water, and a shotgun microphone. He follows one of the most fearless and fearsome RCs ever created, Chimera-A, as it takes on one of its greatest challenges ever. Epic music. Alright, so first of all, a little bit of background on where this was taken. I know a few folks have asked about that. All of these videos were taken in the Redwood Regional Parks system in the hills behind the Oakland area in California, United States. Did about 3.5 hours of hiking. It was one big loop going through a bunch of different areas and took about 50 minutes of actual video footage. I was actually planning on just doing one video, but much to my surprise, I got so much footage that was actually acceptable and usable that I decided that rather than putting people to sleep trying to watch one really long video, I would just kind of split it up into different sections. So in the intro reel, you may have noticed a part where I said it's a driving while filming production. That's a new little thing that I added in there. That's just a little note, a little reminder for folks who still don't know. You should know by now, but for folks who still don't know, 99% of the videos that show up on this YouTube channel or that show up under my name in one way or another are me driving the truck and me doing the filming at the same time. So it's two hands, camera and controller, dealing with navigating through the terrain itself, taking care of zoom and lighting exposure, and controlling the vehicle. It's pretty tricky, but it works out. I usually don't have help from an additional cameraman. And right here in this scene, you can actually see that at the beginning of it, the water was clear, and that's actually a little hint that can help you to understand how some of these pictures were done, because if the water is clear, that means that I haven't gone through it before, which means it's take one. If you look really carefully in some shots, the water is actually muddy. I've actually done them a few times. This was one of my actually favorite shots of the entire series, both the previous one and this one, just coming under these partially fallen bay trees. Just a beautiful little scene, kind of dark. I'm a big fan of moss, and on this day that I was out there, I had good lighting, and we had enough precipitation, because near the California coast you get a lot of fog and it gets water down to the ground and on surfaces, and the moss was just glowing, almost fluorescent green. It was just really beautiful, so I tried to get moss in as many shots as possible. There are a lot of different ways to actually start a scene and end a scene. This clip right here, you can see I drove out of the range of the camera at the end. It's actually because where I stopped, there was nowhere farther to go. It was actually a cliff right there. So it's pretty interesting the things that you can do to kind of mess with the eye and the imagination especially when dealing with scale video productions, to give illusions and to work off of the expectation of the mind as to what is going on off camera. Sticks suck. That is one thing that I learned. If there was anything that I learned on this whole trip, this whole expedition, was that sticks suck. They are the worst obstacles to get over and to get through. Because pretty much, I mean, I can deal with rocks, I can deal with slippery surfaces, I can deal with mud and water, but sticks, seems like Murphy's Law is the law of sticks on the ground. I swear, just about any time, like right there, you saw that it started to get stuck. Any time that you drive over an area that has just free sticks in it, literally just sticks, small branches, it's so annoying because they always tend to turn, like as the tires go over the obstacle, the sticks tend to turn and bow shapes turn up, and then they stick right into the insides of your wheels or into your drive shafts and tend to get it stuck. So most of the time when I had to redo shots while doing these videos, it was because a stick got stuck right into the drive shaft. All right, so that was Act 1. Now I'm going to move on to Act 2, which is actually done in a completely different area. Most of the things that were done in that first video were kind of in a continuous strip as I hiked from one area to another. Was not really at the beginning of the trip. This was more midway through. I did some of these things a little bit out of order. Now I'm going to move on to 2, which is Venom Gulch. So Act 2, Venom Gulch. If you look very carefully in this picture, and you'll see that there are a lot of things that look like, basically just flies buzzing around in front of the camera. And you'll also notice that, following that hint that I gave you earlier, the water is pretty muddy. Those aren't flies, those are bees. And I'm not sure if you heard of a thing called the Africanized bee or the killer bee. They're not just something from horror movies, they're actually real, and they are bees that look exactly like honeybees, but they've been genetically altered by man through hybridization. And basically, long story short, killer bees, if you make them mad, the entire colony will kill you. Literally, every single bee in the entire colony will come out and will sting you until you're dead, and then they will continue to sting your dead body. So I really wanted to start the shot from that spot, because I had this nice little creek area, and that seemed to be just a good place to bring the truck in, and I wanted to use as much of the terrain as possible. But with the bees going around there, I didn't know if they were honeybees or killer bees. It's always impossible to tell. So I had to spend about 10 or 15 minutes just experimenting with the area using Chimera-A. Thankfully, it's a very brave and courageous and fearless vehicle, as you all very well know. But using it to kind of prod in there and watching both the movement of the bees as a group as well as individually, and just seeing how they responded to slow movements, to incursion exactly to where they were, to fast jerking movements, just to make sure that these weren't killer bees. And it turns out they weren't killer bees, they were just honeybees. But just the thought of the stings and the stingers is what inspired me to call this Venom Gulch. So one thing to keep in mind while you watch videos like this, like I said, I am the cameraman as well as the driver. So what's involved in setting up a shot is first going through and scouting it out, similar to somebody who would be doing a competition crawl, scouting out available routes. I actually try not to spend too much time doing that because I like to just drive and really see what the truck can do. But at least I have to go through and make one quick visual scan to see what's going to be there, make sure that there are no completely impassable objects that would just basically ruin the shot and force me to do a cut. And another thing that I actually look out for when doing my quick visual scan of the route is where I'll actually be able to walk. So it's not just a challenge of the vehicle getting through the terrain, but I've got to be focused on the vehicle and focused on what's going on in the camera's viewfinder simultaneously, because you can't just watch through the viewfinder. You have too little view to actually predict where you want to go in advance. But at the same time, I have to make sure that I'm going to be able to have footing and not completely trip and fall on my face and break the camera in the process. So this is one thing to think about when you see videos like this, when they're done, which is actually pretty rare, but when they're done with the same person doing the driving and doing the video, is that the vehicle is crawling, the person is crawling also on foot. after the beginning of this one where I was testing the bees, actually I'm pretty sure that all of this was just one take. There are some cuts in there, but that was just basically to reposition the camera and make sure that you didn't just have one single boring view the entire time. But pretty much after the little bee pool, everything here was done in the order that you see it and without stopping the camera. And so next I move on to Act 3, which is the crossing. This one was a lot of fun. When I came across this log, it's a downed redwood tree. I just felt like I had died and gone to heaven. This whole time that I was out there in this area, I was looking for a place to do a log crossing. I was expecting to just find some downed tree, and I just wanted to crawl up on it and then just kind of go across it. I had done a two-wheeled angled crossing in one of the earlier videos where Chimera-A challenges Lake Chabot Northwest, but I really wanted to do a real one. So when I came across this log or this tree that was across this valley, this little, it's about a 10-foot drop under there into rocks, I was just blown away and I just had to cross it. And in the process of crossing it, I actually learned that redwood trees and their bark are very slippery. This is not a place where I would want to try to cross on foot. Even with the soft crawler tires on there, the biggest problem here was not keeping the vehicle balanced and on the top as it went across while also operating the camera at the same time, but also the main thing was just the traction. It kept wanting to slip. And what I did was I did two crossings, so I actually did go all the way across non-stop. It was just boring to watch it from one angle, so I did two crossings. One of them I drove across halfway from this angle here and then walked all the way around. It's not a direct shot. You have to walk around to avoid the valley. All the way around to get to the other side to get some of the shots of it coming at you, and then went back to finish it. And then I did one more where I just continually filmed the entire thing from one end to the other and then just put them together. It really looked better and felt cooler in person. I think the camera really failed to capture the scale of things here, and especially with all the redwoods around, they're so tall and straight, it just made everything feel huge. And thinking about actually walking across that log and possibly falling down into those rocks, it is a place where a human could die. So I think it was a lot more exciting for me to actually do that one than for you to watch it, but I figured I'd share it anyway. So now move on to Act 4, which is the Valley of Fear. All right, so see that plant right there that it just went underneath? That's a thing called poison oak. You touch that, you get it on your skin, and you're gonna get a rash. And some people are allergic to it, and they have a really, really horrible reaction, and it just blows up the skin to like 3 times its normal size. That's why I call this the Valley of Fear. Remember earlier I mentioned that one of the big challenges of doing these videos is actually navigating through it on foot. Like for instance, that rock right there, I just had to walk down that backwards, and now I'm completely backwards to the direction that I'm going. I'm not able to actually look backwards at all. I'm just completely focused, hunched way over in this short little valley. It's only about 2 feet tall next to a trail. So everything is just feeling backwards with the foot and trying to make sure that the camera doesn't shake too much as I descend down to different things. So one of the obstacles that you don't see too much in the videos is things like poison oak plants. I was wearing a t-shirt, so I really didn't want to run into those. That was a little tough. This is just another run. I did the exact same run twice. This is the view from above, basically from the trail that runs right alongside this creek. I wanted to actually show the entire run both ways, but it ended up being kind of a boring view from the top, so I ended up using most of the footage just having the truck crawling directly at you. This little section right here was a lot of fun. I felt it while I was walking backwards. I felt it with my feet. And as soon as I actually saw it, when I had passed it when walking, I was like, I know Chimera-A can make it through this. It's a ridiculously narrow little thing, but by putting it on its side, thanks to the narrowness of the body and the angle of it, it was able to squeeze through it. What's also funny about that is right where it was kind of getting stuck, there was a lady who was walking by on the trail, which is just a foot or two to my right, and actually turned while I was still driving it forward there. I actually turned and said hi. I had to kind of mute that out of the soundtrack to it and stuff, and she kind of stood there for a minute or a few seconds just to watch it drive out. Probably didn't even see that I had a camera because I was all crouched over. But that was a fun little run. I really liked the enclosed spaces on it and the challenge of just feeling the trail with my feet and making it through with Chimera-A. Which brings us then to Act 5, the escape. Act 5, the escape. This is sort of the fajita of these videos. It's all the stuff that was left over put together. It's a combination of clips taken from all different places. That mud puddle that I just went through, I actually did that in Act 1, coming in the exact same direction, same puddle, just taken from a different angle where I went through it really slow. So that was actually taken at the same time. This spot here was near the end of the run. It was actually the second to last shot that I did. Oh, what is this? You see that? What is that? Is that what it looks like? I think it is. It is. It's a wood bridge. Somebody put that there just for RCs. How cool is that? I appreciate it when RC conscious folks are in the world and, prepare the scene before you get there. I'm assuming that little bridge is there so that people can cross when there's about a foot of water going across. You can see it's really low to the ground, but there's a little bit of water that flows through there as a stream when it's during the rainy season. Like I said, just random shots taken throughout the day. This was actually right next to and just before the crossing where I did the log crossing. Just to your left was actually that crossing area. This shot here was taken just after the Valley of Fear segment, a little bit farther down the trail where the stream was not accessible. I just love tree roots that are exposed. They just make just an interesting looking thing. These are redwood tree roots. They tend to stay very close to the surface. So when water and wind and people walking erode away some of the surface dirt, it leaves the roots showing. It's actually a little bit more difficult for RCs to get over them than they would look like for their small size, especially you have to worry about getting caught on the disc. But I just love the look of it. I don't know if it was boring for you guys to watch this segment or not, but for me it was just fun, and I just really like the experience of being there and seeing the truck going over bumpy areas up close that are made of wood. It's just very natural and very rough. This here was actually working again in the opposite direction. This shot was taken just before the section where I did the roots. So this is actually coming away from the roots, but in the opposite direction. And this is right at the beginning of the Valley of Fear, going up the trail. I'm actually standing in the valley itself, going back up the trail. This was one of the first shots that I did in the entire series, and this here is literally the last clip that I took. Chimera-A wanted to show that although it can go slow, it also has the power to go fast. Challenge cleared. So there you have it. That was the Chimera-A Challenges Epic Music mini video series. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed getting a little bit of behind the scenes information about it. I do have a playlist on my channel just for Chimera-A. It has done a bunch of other challenges, and as of the filming of this video right here, it still has at least 3 more challenges that it's going to show you. And everything from, in total, Chimera-A has challenged everything from a racetrack to mud and rain to now music, and it's also going to challenge a different style of video taking and video making. So please be sure to subscribe to the Ultimate RC Network channel. That's where all of my RC related videos in the hobby world go, and when you hit the subscribe button there, you might want to also subscribe to some of my other channels related to toy class, RCs, and also a couple of other different hobbies. Hope you've enjoyed this, and I will be coming back and giving you some more videos very soon. So I'll be talking to you again, and take care, and I hope to see you on the forums at ultimaterc.com. Bye for now.